Konosuba is hilarious. That's it. That's the video. See you next time. But for real, this is one of the most entertaining anime I've ever seen. It's the kind of series that whether I'm in the mood for a 10-episode binge of a season that I know will do nothing but entertain me greatly, or I have 20 minutes to kill and will randomly turn on an episode of this funny anime, I always leave entertained with nothing but positive thoughts filling my mind. Konosuba did something completely unique for the genre of isekai, but also comedy anime in general. Series such as this live or die by how strong the characters are. Without the right formula to its cast, the gag and trick will wear off before you even reach the halfway mark of its first season. Konosuba understands this, and with each focal character we meet, they should hook us from near minute 1, at least as soon as you learn about their quirk. Whether that be the lead Kazuma and his desire to live a cliched isekai life where everyone worships him, but with every step of the way, his entitled dreams keep being pushed further and further away as he insults anyone and everyone. The useless goddess Aqua who demands, begs, grovels, really puts herself on a pedestal while truly being the lowest of the low within this world. The one-hit wonder Megumin who can only cast powerful explosion magic once per day, then she's out of commission, or the sexual deviant Darkness who gets off on being degraded, who also seemingly can't land a single hit on her enemies despite having a class specifically designed for attacking, yet all she wants to do is be attacked. Not to mention the many side characters who all just add on to this absurdity. Konosuba is built on the idea that every character is the best worst character imaginable. Simply put, most of the focal characters we see are either overly entitled, bitchy, manipulative, cruel, or just simply bad people, and that's why it's so fun to follow. Depending on the situation, you may look at Kazuma as the victim, how hard it must be to be treated so poorly and walked all over by someone such as Aqua, especially after seeing how poorly he died and now is tasked at defeating some king he has no real right even trying to fight. Yet within minutes you may swap your opinion of feeling bad for Kazuma to thinking he is a dick with how he cares for so little, unless it's for himself. If only one or two of these characters in Konosuba were arrogant and overly egotistical, the balance would be quite off. Imagine if someone like Megumin was always trying so hard to be a great wizard, but only could handle one explosion a day. She felt terrible about it, feeling as if she is letting her party down. And then we saw someone like Kazuma ridicule her for being worthless because she knows so little magic. We'd very quickly feel sorry for her and never look at Kazuma as the victim, just the abuser. But having her be so ridiculous in refusing to learn other magic or skills despite being able to, putting the others in danger or just giving them a hard time as she casts this ridiculous power she can't handle, as she grins as people carry her away. The burden of the group is what keeps her persona feeling fresh and bouncing between feeling bad for her or wanting to hit her like Kazuma wants to nearly every single day. One of my favorite parts of the show is when Aqua takes on the task of clearing the lake that is polluted. They throw her into a cage as then she can purify to her heart's content without being in any real danger, so she can have the reward all to herself and the others don't have to lift a finger to protect her. Eventually the gators pop up and rather than aid her, the rest just let her freak out as she fears for her life and she finally has to get serious and clear the water as quickly as possible. She often puts herself on a pedestal despite really being nothing in this world past a powerful trait here and there, but really her party tricks sum her up quite well. But at the end of the quest, she no longer wants to leave the cage as she is so traumatized to the point I can't stop laughing. The useless goddess forgets she's a goddess and the others really don't care until they're back in town and it starts looking bad for themselves. Most series that I've experienced generally don't go the route Konosuba does, and what I mean is having a cast that 95% of the time walk all over each other, with the remaining 5% sometimes being there and generally enjoying each other's company, but in a fairly warped and not that pleasant way. At any given moment, especially seen by Aqua and Kazuma, they will insult and berate one another and wish how they didn't have to be around them. They'll lend a helping hand while flipping them off with the other hand. It'd be quite easy for Konosuba to lose its charm with most of the cast being rather bad people more often than not, but that small sliver of love that they all share for each other, that yes, most of the time is fueled by the thought of, well, this is the best I'll get so I might as well make do with them, really helps to recharge the viewer at enough points that this endless sea of abuse never grows old. And because not one of the four central characters are better than the other, at least for myself, whoever is the focus for the joke at hand entertains me as much as the last sequence. Designing the central four so flawlessly to all have equally hilariously horrible personalities, well, is that a mouthful of a comment, is what keeps every single episode so damn fresh. When looking over every comedy anime that I've completed so far, the ones that always stand out are series where the animation played an equal part to the writing. A talented mangaka can design panels in such a way to capture the beauty of their writing at hand, or even a light novel author can get into enough detail to let us visualize what's happening with the absurdity at hand. Now with anime, you'd think it'd be the easiest thing in the world to just copy and paste the idea down and call it a day, because now we have full-on animated visuals. But just slapping a funny face on a character like Aqua wouldn't get the same reaction as having her entire body shake in fear as she grovels at the feet of someone like Cosma, as seen with this wonderful piece of animation. Studio Dean's portrayal on these characters is actually some of the most memorable animation in anime for me. I often see Konosuba come up when people screen cap a character where their face isn't proportionate, and while it's frozen it looks rather bad. Anyone with any form of knowledge on the matter of animation knows you can't judge quality based on static images, especially when many of these so-called poor quality shots are in between frames. But even in motion, you may look at Konosuba as not being as polished as other anime, or so you might think. Which, if we are judging it by being cleanly detailed animation, sure, it's not. But Konosuba is all about expression, and having animation where characters' faces never move and go off their typical character model would ruin the charm of its comedic direction. The characters' personalities are completely and utterly wild, and to have animation that mirrors that one for one adds on to this hilarious charm. When a character overreacts, they almost will always go overboard, but not in a way that it's so ridiculous you think, let's tone it down, but rather, that's how crazy this character is, and like with the rest watching, we think, what is wrong with this person? I adore how when reactions change on a character's face, if their mood is no longer normal, as they typically are in their mundane life, from the eyes to the mouth to everything in between, their faces just shift in such a comedic way that yes, if you pause, you might think, well, this looks sloppy, but in execution, you see this stupid personality mirroring their body language one for one. Loose line work is an underappreciated art form, and even outside of comedies can be an added layer to a great product. But with comedy series, you can let your characters run as wild with no limitations holding them back, and in doing so you get the cast of Konosuba looking like this, and there is nothing better than what's seen here. Many times you see studios try to keep a consistent character model, but with Konosuba we see a team who understands the more wild these characters act, the more willing the viewer is to see these goofballs be less and less human to mirror their idiotic ways that the writing so beautifully nails. Often when it comes to comedies, I prefer to experience them in my native tongue, and while I have no real issues with the English dub for Konosuba, this is one of the few exceptions that anytime I rewatch this gem I always will watch in the Japanese dub. I feel as if Konosuba has the best case of perfectly casted characters that I don't think anyone can capture the idiocy as well as what's seen here, especially with Aqua. Aqua is such a rare entity in the anime world that I consider a lovable idiot who can be one of the most self-indulging bitchy characters you'll ever see, but you can't help but appreciate her. I still question how Sori Amiya got this portrayal down, as when Aqua really goes overboard, you buy that this is how insane she is, and she truly believes the nonsense that she is spouting. This isn't just a joke, this really means something to her despite anyone with a brain recognizing how clueless she is. The situations she's freaking out over, like paying back a bar tab, this is far more extreme than anyone should be, even if you might get your kneecaps broke for late payments. But bless Aqua for these moments. One of my favorite reoccurring lines is when Cosma responds, "Yes, I'm Cosma." On more than one occasion, all three of his party members will at multiple points say his name far too much, either by trying to be cute or just not using their brain. So when they usually try to tell him something so ridiculous or absurd that will either get him killed or land him in trouble, after enough exhaustion he simply will respond, "Yes, I'm Cosma." The defeated exhaustion in his delivery in the most disposable of scenes helps sell how strong of a personality this man has, and why we can't help but love him among the rest of the cast because blessed scenes such as these. Even how Megumin goes overboard with her love for explosion magic, you get a sense of an addict trying to sell you on why you should live a life on their substance of choice, and how far off the edge she really is. You just think she's probably lost her marbles many years ago. To the non-stop sexual tension between darkness and, well, anything. This girl feels like Niagara Falls during nearly every scene she is a part of, and though most around her miss what it is she's implying, like with Cosma looking deadpan, we think, what is actually wrong with this sex addict, and we probably need to get her help. The voice actors get into their roles so well, I often wonder if this is some of their favorite roles they've ever been casted for, because to get this into a character is something you don't see too often, especially for an anime as ridiculous as this. But I can't say I'm complaining, because I laugh just thinking about Konosuba. This is a series series that whenever I hear about more projects being made, whether that be a season or a movie, I immediately pop in the prior projects and hours later I'm out of content to watch. Every joke is memorable. I still remember Aqua mocking Aries for wearing pads, or how these girls are terrified of frogs after what happened to them. Cosma's thief skill that steals the panties off of nearby travelers, it's all so stupid and that's why we love it. Isekai has become boring because it's the same thing time and time again. Konosuba has its central lead Cosma clinging to the hope that he can be the generic hero and play this world like a video game on New Game Plus where he is overleveled and all his opponents are underleveled. But then reality will smack him in the face and set him right back to stage 1 where he sleeps in the stables next to pieces of shit day in and day out. Where with most isekai characters who get the easy route, Cosma received the parody route, where he is so self-aware to how unfortunate his life is, and like with Stockholm Syndrome, both he and Aqua at multiple points appreciate this caged-in lifestyle, but they never let it fall into the tropes, making sure they bicker far more than they love and support one another. Saying Konosuba is funny is the equivalent of telling someone that water or darkness are wet. You just know that's the case, but few anime have hooked the masses like Konosuba in modern times, that even if this falls victim to an incomplete adaptation, there's something so powerful about its design that people will continue to recommend this gem for years and years to come. In some ways, if that did happen, it'd fit Cosma's life so perfectly. He never got an ending adding on to his internal hell. Or maybe the anime gods will bless us and we will receive that complete adaptation. Either way, I will continue to rewatch this show more times than I should, and probably like many watching, I'm not alone with this love for Konosuba, God's blessing on this wonderful world. But hey, that's just my opinion anyway. But I'd love to hear yours if you have any thoughts on Konosuba or this video down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed my ramblings, be sure to leave a like to show your support, and remember to hit that subscribe button if you happen to be new. Now lastly, there is my Patreon for those who want to go the extra mile and help support what I do around here even more, but that is if you so wish. So until next time everyone, please take care and have a good one.